Good afternoon, Westchester. It's 12 noon on Wednesday, and that means it's time to talk with me, Jen Graziano. I'm a licensed funeral director who oversees my family's funeral homes, Cox and Graziano of both Mamaroneck and Greenwich, and the Zion Memorial Chapel of Westchester. Every Wednesday, I come to you discussing important topics and sensitive matters that all of us need to pause and reflect upon at some point, and through this show, I hope to provide a platform to do so. As always, this afternoon on 1460 WVOX, we will take questions, comments, and calls to 914-636-0110. Thank you to Gerald and all in the control room. And welcome back, Facebook Live viewers, to our second show today. And thanks, as always, to Tim Judge, my Facebook expert. You can post any questions or comments to the site directly as well. So, a show that is very, very important to me, this topic today. I'm honored to have my guest back on air. I think it was about a year ago you were with me. It's your third time on the air. I was thinking about that this morning. Kerry Rubenstein of Through My Eyes. This is an organization that 30 minutes really is not going to do it justice, because what you are doing through this organization, what you are helping people give and leave behind, it's immeasurable. It's priceless. But introduce yourself, please, to our viewers and listeners, and tell us a little bit about Through My Eyes.
I am Kerry Rubenstein, and about 7 years ago, I co-founded Through My Eyes because there was a woman that I was mentoring at our local gym at the Equinox. And I saw her crying one day, and I said, Dee Dee, what's going on? And she said, Kerry, the doctor said there's nothing left for me to do. And all I want to do is make a video for my 8-year-old daughter. And it was then that I realized I raise a lot of money for breast cancer research, but I wasn't doing anything for her. So how do I help the people that it might be too late for in terms of time is running out? And that's how we came up with Through My Eyes. We had Dee Dee videotaped, and my husband's law firm, it's now Arnold Porter, did all of the legal work for us. So we're a 501c3. Our own personal accountant said, I'm in, and he takes care of all of the financials and everything we need. And then I found this incredible videographer, no offense to you, Robert Allen, who has been there by my side the entire time. I will tell you that in the 6 years, we are now a nationwide organization. We have 65 volunteer mental health professionals who will help you make your video legacy at any time.
So we're talking, Kerry, about video legacies, and what you are achieving through your organization is you're taking someone with a terminal diagnosis, and this person wants to leave a message behind for those that they love. And through My Eyes, yourself and your team, you allow them to have their words, their messages, their wishes recorded. And there's a process to it, which you'll get to. But from my perspective, having really being surrounded by death my whole life, arguably speaking, I know one of the comforts that people long for is to hear a voice. I find it myself, with people who have passed away. I mean, I remember calling my grandmother's answering machine. You want to hear a voice. You go and you look for the comfort of home videos and home movies. There's such a comfort to be in the presence of somebody that you lost, even if it's on a screen, watching them. I can't imagine a better gift to leave behind.
Jennifer, people often say to me, how do you do this? How did you go from being a teacher to doing what you're doing? Mm-hmm. And my answer is that I help parents say all they would like to say and leave their messages. But most importantly, I give those children the gift of a lifetime, because they have that voice, that smile. They're able to see and hear their parents for the rest of their lives.
And they're speaking directly to them. Whereas if you're watching the home movie of a party or a wedding, you're seeing them in a different setting. But this is an actual directly communicated message. As a mother, I couldn't imagine leaving my child behind one day, but I couldn't. There's so much that you want to teach your child, but when time robs you of that, And when your life is cut short, you're still a parent. You still have things to teach them, lessons to impart, words of wisdom to share. And when time robs you of that, you give that back. So that sums you up in a nutshell, that you're giving back what was taken away, but you're giving hopeful messages, you're giving encouragement, and I really want to help you spread that message because I think it's wonderful what you're doing. So talk a bit about the process. Not only do you record people and have the videos recorded, but you have a team of mental health professionals that will come and help you prepare your message, because this has to be an emotionally taxing process. How do you get yourself in front of a camera knowing that you're recording final messages? You recognize the need for some assistance along the way. So talk about the role that the mental health professionals play in Through My Eyes.
I've helped make several, even though I am not a trained mental health professional.
No, but you're a friend.
But
so that's a great.
What I hear from so many people is, I've tried to do this. I've sat in front of my phone. I just don't know where to start. And so I got several of those people together. I got several professionals together, and we formed a script. And what we do basically is we take you from your earliest childhood memories, and then we take you forward to high school, if you've graduated college, whatever it is, to choosing a career, to meeting your significant other, and to holding that child for the first time. I don't need another question after that, because any parent who goes in front of a camera and starts to talk about their children, they can just talk and talk and talk. And so it's easy. And it opens them up. And the other thing is that they don't come before a camera without talking to us, without filling out some forms so we know who they are.
Okay.
And also,
so there's some intake, there's some
there
information.
is an intake form, and it's really important that I don't ask a question where I say, well, how was your daughter today? I need to give that child a name. This needs to be personal.
Right.
And we personalize this as much, or actually it's just as much as the person would like.
So how long is often a recording? I mean, is it just uninterrupted footage, or is it a series of messages that they want delivered at certain times, or is there no right or wrong prescribed way? It could be whatever the person wants.
There's no right or wrong, but what we find is people would like to make the entire video, and sometimes it's an hour, sometimes it's an hour and a half. I've seen them as long as 3 hours.
Okay. And is it usually just continuous footage of them talking, or is it segmented? Do you find that they just want the one video delivered, or do you find that they do want it segmented, that give this upon this occasion? Or you give everything obviously to the family, but are there usually instructions with the video as to when it should be watched?
There, I have other mental health professionals who, when the video comes, there are specific guidelines on how you show it to a child. It really depends on the child's age.
Right.
I mean, we've done videos where the children are 6 months old,
right.
and we've done videos where the children are 18 years old. It's
right.
a whole other way. So we give guidelines. We certainly encourage grief counselors, and it really depends on the parent. And most of the time what we find is that the person making the video and their spouse will talk about it.
Okay.
And they decide.
So that was leading to my next question. Oftentimes, is the family aware that this, in fact, is being videoed? Or that their loved one is actually doing this?
In the hundreds of videos we've made, there's only been one time when the family didn't know, and that was for religious reasons.
Okay. Very interesting. So talk about how the organization has evolved from its inception, even simply in terms of the amount of videos that you're now doing, or have you seen the overall message of the videos changing? Have you seen people in recent times looking to incorporate more or touching on subjects that perhaps weren't touched upon before? How have these productions evolved?
You know, when we first started, we had this list of questions that we asked, and I remember I was sitting there one day, and the father that we were doing had ALS.
Okay.
And it was right after my son and his wife had gotten married. And on that day, she cried because her mom was gone. And it hit me hard because I had to stand there and I held her and told her mom was looking down. But when I made this video, behind him was his teenage son. And all of a sudden I said, he needs a message on his wedding day. And
Wow.
I turned and I said, Marcel, what would you say to him on his wedding day? And we've incorporated that. And what we do now is we take parents into the future.
Okay.
What do you see for your child? Tell us what's important. What makes a good marriage? You know, all these words of wisdom that they may not be there for.
Right. So you kind of help them. You help them along the journey and fast forward the film because these events are still going to happen. Sadly, not in their physical presence. But when you're sitting down to make a video like this, you're probably overwhelmed in your thoughts. There's so much that they must want to say. It's hard to maybe couch your thoughts or organize your thoughts. So you would be then on the other end of the camera.
We're the organizers.
So helping kind of elicit this information. Do you find that people kind of have that, wow, I never thought of that, the ones who are making the video?
You know, we go over with them before we sit down.
They do know. Okay.
So we have, you know, a list of categories. And we ask because you never know with a person. Are they divorced? What's happened? So there are a list of categories, and they have the ability to say, don't touch on that. You know, we're not going there.
Oh, that's important too. So the person who's being videoed has a total right of editorial control. You will decide the content of your message. It always stays within the comfort zone. We
do not take away anything from that video unless we feel that a child is going to be hurt.
Okay.
If someone, and it happens, if someone is saying things that could be detrimental to a child, we can't do it. Understandable.
And I give you even more credit for being so, you're really on top of the product you're producing. You really have good intentions, and it's supposed to be an inspiring, uplifting video with all positives. So, you know, I can understand the need for some editorial control on that.
But I'd also like to say, in the hundreds we've done, that too has only happened one time.
I'm sure. No, I'm sure it's definitely not the norm.
Yeah.
But, you know, anger does come out, especially at that time, I can imagine, you know, as your life is ending. Maybe unresolved issues would manifest through a video. So I give you credit for being watchful of it, but again, 1 out of 100 is not
right.
bad at all. Kerry, how is your message getting out? How are people realizing that this is available to them? Are you dealing with hospice agencies? Are you dealing with, how are you spreading the word? I know about you. I often encourage people to donate to this cause when they're looking for a memorial contribution charity. But how else do people know about you?
We actually have a Facebook page.
Okay.
And we have a website. And what happens is either the client themselves does the Google search and finds us, or loved ones find us, or in a lot of cases, these people are in online support groups. And if someone's made a video already, they're spreading the word through their online support group. So I often hear, you know, because I always ask the question, how did you hear about us? And it a lot of the times it's from my online support group.
Wow. So word of mouth really,
it's really
travels.
Word of mouth.
How many videos are you able to? Do you know the number of how many you've made? And you say 6 years you've been.
Hundreds. At 100, we've made, I'd say 300-400 videos now.
And obviously, I mean, you started here 6 years ago, or you became a national organization 6 years ago?
No, we started in 2011.
Okay.
Actually, when I recently looked at our papers, it said 2010 on it in terms of the incorporation.
So you're around about 7-8 years. What are the mental health professionals that you work closest with? What are their thoughts? What are they telling you is this therapeutic for people who have received this diagnosis? Is it an ultimate form of therapy to be able to create this video, or is it really giving peace of mind and security for the person who is dying to know that it's their words, their stories that will be told directly from them?
In every video we have done, when the parent is finished, they look at us and say, I'm so glad that I've done this. We have never heard, I'm sorry. I wish I had never done this. So every single parent that we have ever done is so happy to have this in their back pocket. But Jennifer, I want you to remember something. What I always tell people who come to us is, working with us doesn't mean you've given up your fight against your disease. Working with us means that we're your insurance policy.
Absolutely. That alone offers so much hope.
And if in 3 to 5 years there's another medication, then I'll come back and update your video. And I'm happy to say we've updated a few videos.
That's wonderful. That is wonderful. You know, I think the worst thing you could ever do is take hope away. As long as you're breathing, there is hope for you.
Always.
And that's so important to remember. I even say when people are reluctant to pre-plan a funeral, I say there's no time stamp to anyone's life. All you're doing is ensuring that you have a plan, you've communicated your thoughts, you've communicated your wishes, you yourself. So you're not relying on someone else to speak for you. And that's exactly what you're doing. So I would encourage anyone watching or listening not to be afraid. It doesn't mean the end. It just means that you are guaranteeing that you have left something for those that you love. Are there separate videos, Kerry? Do people make one video for a spouse, one video for a child, or one video for a son, one for a daughter? Do you find that it's one video, or are there often separate ones given to separate people?
That depends on the parent.
Okay.
They discuss that with Robert, our videographer, and between Robert and the client, they will make the decision. I mean, I know Robert gives them some time, so if they want to incorporate pictures in it, they're able to incorporate pictures.
Okay, that's good. They can really make this. They can bring in pictures, perhaps clips of old movies. So it really gets personal. You know, at the funeral home, in recent years, we have begun to offer memorial DVDs, and they play in the back during a wake. And I have seen such a shift in that room where a wake is held in light of these videos. Because what the video allows you to do is remember them as they were. When you look at those old photos, it creates a different atmosphere. I mean, yes, you're still mourning because in the front of the room is where the deceased lay, but when that room is filled with their image and their pictures and remembering the happy times, you're allowed to remember them as they once were, and death no longer defines them. So in your video, although it's different, it's targeted specific messages. When you incorporate those photos, it allows you to see a bigger picture. It allows you to see them as they were, as they lived, as they laughed. And I think it only just enhances the video to juxtapose their life and then their message.
Well, I agree with that, but I also can make the argument that every one of us should be making a video.
I agree with you.
I should make a video for my grandchildren so that they know who I am today and I can tell them about my life. And every one of us, because we don't know when we walk outside what can happen.
That's very true.
And that's one of the reasons why, yes, what we've just talked about at Through My Eyes is a free clinically guided service for anyone who has a life-threatening disease. And we do it for free if your children are 21 years or younger. We waive that if you're a first responder, if you're a police officer, a firefighter, or any of those. I don't care how old your children are. But in light of the fact that what we do on that side is free, which means I have to raise a lot of money to be able to do it.
And we're going to get to talking about that, but you actually segued perfectly into where I was going. Tell us about the new side of Through My Eyes.
The new side of Through My Eyes is what I just said. We all should be making a video to leave for our children, our grandchildren, our great-grandchildren.
Yes.
Because there are going to be people who they'll hear our names, but they'll never know. And just a flat picture, that doesn't tell them who we are. And so we have started another side, which is a for-profit side, and every one of the videos that gets made helps us make another video on the other side of this organization. And so we have packages. We have a silver package, a gold package, and then we have a really custom-made package for anyone who wants to take it further. But it's such an important thing now, and I know that, you know, one of the things that you do is advanced planning, and I know nobody talks about this, and I can't believe I'm sitting here talking about this actually, but I will not come back on your show again unless I've made that video for my grandchildren, because it's so important to me.
I agree with you 100%. And like we said, regardless of the diagnosis or no diagnosis, none of us have any type of guarantee on this earth. We have a guarantee that we all will pass, and that's the common unifier among us, the common denominator. But there's so much, you know, I have one daughter and I'm a single mother. So for me to her, I feel like I constantly want to codify her memories. I always make albums and I explain everything, and I do yearly videos every year on her birthday, and I save them in a safe place. As time goes, as she gets older, I would want her to, you know, to always have some recording of something that I would say to her. But I think about my parents. They're so close to their grandchildren. I mean, they really are, you know, my parents are my daughter's world. And I think about the hypocrisy of it, though. As much as I'm an advocate, I say to myself, oh my gosh, if I do that, it might mean that they're getting old. But then, God forbid, I don't let them do that and something should happen. I would never live with myself that my daughter didn't have that recording of my parents. So I myself am inspired to have this done for my own family. It could be a happy thing.
Absolutely.
It could be a really great, tell your story. Who better to tell your story than you?
And I'll make the same argument I made before, because I don't know what you call old, and I don't want to get into that today.
I certainly don't call you old, Kerry. Old is very relative, and old is very old to me. I think 60s and 70s are young. I honestly do. And, you know, I see people in their 90s with more energy than arguably I have, especially today. But old is a state of mind.
So tell me why I can't make a video at 65. I can't believe this is going on Facebook. But why can't I update that video in 10 years?
Absolutely.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
And I encourage people to think that way. To say, okay, I'm going to make this video now, and my granddaughter is 4. 10 years from now, she'll be 14. At 14, please God, I will have so many memories to share with her.
Absolutely.
About what we've done, how I felt. And I think that whether you do it every 10 years, every 5 years, update the video.
It's an album. It's like adding photos to an album, which I don't even know if we do anymore because everything's digital, but it is the album of your life. And whereas you can continue taking pictures as long as you're here, you can continue recording messages as long as you're here. So I think that this is a wonderful opportunity out there for everyone. This is not something to be looked at in a sad or somber way. This is something that should be embraced. Leave your legacy. Leave your words. Tell your own story. Things get lost in translation when we tell stories about people who are not here anymore. Use your words for your grandchildren and your great-grandchildren. Let them see who you are, and who you were. It's a wonderful, so that side of Through My Eyes, it's still called Through My Eyes. There are brochures. There's a website that will discuss this as well. But I think everyone out there should think about making their own video, leaving their own legacy. Tell us a bit about your fundraising efforts, though, getting back to the other side, the free clinical videos that you offer. You have a very big event coming up on May 7th. It's an annual event. You do this every year. Tell everyone what it is.
We're going, because it's a very heavy topic, we felt that we really needed a night of comedy. And so that's exactly what we do. We go to the Gotham Comedy Club, and this year Judy Gold will be performing as our main headliner. But I need to tell you a story. We made a video January 31st. And last week I went and I met with this client and we were talking, and she started her own organization called Cancer Couch, which helps do research, provides money for research for metastatic breast cancer.
Okay.
And when I told her about our fundraiser, she said, Kerry, why didn't you ask me? I'm a stand-up comic. She said, I'm coming down and I'm the opening act. And I looked at her and I said, Fairfield's really pretty far from New York, but Rebecca Timlin will be down there and she will be doing our opening, which is a really big deal for me.
That is wonderful. I mean, that's so inspiring when you watch someone who embodies such courage and such a spirit. The mind wills the body. So her spirit has to be helping her physically. And I think that's a wonderful testament to Through My Eyes. It's going to make Rebecca feel wonderful. It's going to make you feel wonderful. This is a great event. I'm going to try to get there myself, but it's at the Gotham Comedy Club. Monday. Oh my gosh, we are out of time.
Monday, May 7th.
ThroughMyEyes.org, THRU, and on Facebook, Through My Eyes, Kerry Rubenstein.
Through My Eyes, Inc.
Through My Eyes, Inc. Kerry Rubenstein, God bless you. You're doing something wonderful for so many. This is Jen Graziano thanking you for taking the time to listen as we took the time to talk. Have a great day, Westchester. Bye-bye.